All right, good morning. It's 9 o'clock. I'm going to go ahead and start class right on the money because we have 90 slides. That gives me 30 seconds per slide with 3 speakers sharing the Bible class this morning. We are doing a combined class with our adults and with our teenagers who are walking the wrong way. You'll be in here. And we are doing a combined class to give a report on the Mission World efforts that took place last month. We have Michael Macias, who will be talking about their trip to Mexico, and we have Mark Pitts, who will be sharing some pictures and some highlights from the efforts that took place in Ghana. And then I'll be recapping the 2 El Salvador teams, as well as the one that I helped lead with the team that went to Wales. And so we'll be filling this 45 minutes up with a recap. I'm thankful for everyone's attendance here on the first day of the week, on the Lord's Day. And so let's actually begin with the prayer, and then we'll continue forward. Our Father in heaven, we are so thankful to be with your people on this first day of the week, to kick off the week, to reflect upon you, our relationship with you because of Christ and the sacrifice. And Father, we do pray that we'll treasure times of fellowship and Bible study. We'll be thankful for your design of the first day of the week to be able to worship you and to remember the death of our Lord, and also to be able to celebrate what we know is the resurrection that occurred, and that gives us hope and it gives us meaning in this life. And bless this time. We're thankful for the Northwest Church and her support of missions and here in Lake Worth and Fort Worth, as well as in other parts of the world. Bless this morning. We're thankful for brothers like Michael and for Mark, who will be able to share their experience, and they have such a love for you, and I was so thankful that they could be a part of this. We're mindful of Robert and Sherry as they're celebrating a special anniversary and enjoying some time together. We're thankful for their diligent service to the local church here. We do pray that they'll have safety and a safe return back. This is our prayer in the name of Christ. Amen. All right, what started as a vision a couple years ago that put some dates together, started talking to a number of our team, really with our work with World Bible Institute, saying, hey, let's try to mobilize Christians, people that support our work, people in our local congregations, to be part of a mission effort, to go see the places where we have schools and when we're working. And so we started to put together some plans. A little over a year ago, we had an official flyer. I think there's some sound. I don't think it's the voice cracking, but that's been a long time since that's happened. But we had a vision of eight places we were wanting to go initially, and hundreds of people we were hoping that would be part of it. And eventually it kind of got scaled down a little bit, and that's okay. We ended up with 5 locations and 50 people serving in different parts of the world. And we hope that this will be something that will continue on in coming years and be able to mobilize even more Christians, not only to serve in their backyard, but to be able to go to other places, to receptive fields like Ghana, or to go to even difficult fields, as we'll be talking about later on. So we're going to let Michael go ahead and start things off in talking about their trip to Matamoros, Mexico, right on the border of Brownsville. And then after that, we'll have Mark come up and talk about their work in, it's pronounced Joje, Ghana, and I'll let him share some pictures. And so Michael, come up and talk about Mexico in English, okay? Michael is bilingual. I don't know if you knew this. So a year ago, more than a year ago, I said, Michael, you're going to Mexico. I don't know if I asked or I said you are, but I was so thankful that he was willing and ready to go and stayed committed all the way through. And so I'm so glad. If you ever have a need here locally of talking to somebody who needs to speak in Spanish, Michael's great. I think he literally knows how to talk in Spanish and English. So go ahead.
Good morning, everybody. We're going to go over a few pictures. Let's see. Oh, okay. So this is the Mexican flag, I guess. Okay, so here we're going out. So we have our brother Rogelio in the middle, Gerson, Raquel, his wife, and his daughters Magdiel and Jasiel, and I'm there in the Rough Rider shirt there. So this is one of the congregations that we went to. It's a really small house that they converted into a congregation. And this is the minister that put his own money to the house to make a congregation in this neighborhood. And there's Rogelio. Rogelio's a minister from College Hill, and he was the one who was leading this mission here. This is Gerson is a song leader. He's a songbird. He's always singing. I don't know if you can tell, but it's really hot in there. They have to put a fan in the window to get some air in there. And that's me. I was doing a prayer there. So it's a really tiny house. So if more than 8 people show up, they have to sit outside. But it's actually cooler outside because there's wind, and it's hotter inside, which was interesting. But here in Mexico, everybody is very kind to each other, and they love gathering. If you say, hey, we're going to gather here, or we're going here, everybody shows up. A ton of people will show up, which is super cool, and everybody's so lovely there. Here we were going to, it was about 102 this day, and we were going out to door knocking in the neighborhood of this this small congregation here. And the congregation has been open for about 8 months now, and so what they really needed was more people to get the word out, and that's what we did here. I don't know if you can see me, but I'm applying. I was the only one that needed suntan lotion on my legs because I'm the lightest skinned one. And this is us with a few members of different churches there saying our goodbyes and everything. This is a different one. This is called Quinta Campestre, which is the gentleman there who's sitting down with his wife in the front. He is the minister for this congregation here. And here we are going out to the different neighborhoods to invite people over, because what we were doing there was a marriage counseling sort of event. And many of the roads are just dirt. They're just dirt roads, and so the ladies had umbrellas because it was so hot that day. And then here we have a few couples playing a game and trying to work together to fix a jigsaw puzzle. They were trying, sort of like practicing their, the men were practicing their leadership skills, and the women were practicing the wifely skills. And here we're playing a game where they're doing the same thing. The women get blindfolded, and then they have to listen to, and the husbands have to direct the women to grab sort of like balloons that have words that are good words, like peace and love and all that. And then there's ones that have bad things like greed and lying and stuff like that. And the men have to sort of tell them which ones to put in the bag and which ones not to put in the bag. And whoever got the most wins. And it was sort of like a small game for that. You see there are the balloons. And we handed out little gifts to the winners. So they got like a photo thing. And this one is Buena Vista. This is actually a congregation that focuses on making preachers, so making ministers. And here they're working on an area in the front to make it bigger because they have so much people that they need to expand the building there. Here we're having a devotional. Every single day we had a devotional. That's Juan Ramon Chavez, and he's sort of the one who took us driving everywhere to all the different congregations. And here in the first 2 days, we had a sort of a youth event, and we were there helping with the run the youth events. And this is a lovely family here who invited us to their home to have lunch, and I don't know if you can see her right there in the middle. It's that couple in the middle. Lovely, lovely. If you ever go to Mexico and and you meet with her, she makes great food. And then we were also invited to Valle Hermoso with a different brother, and who invited us into their home to have lunch, and he also took us out to go see like the waters in Valle Hermoso and to go eat elote and raspas. I don't know. It's like shaved ice and corn and just with salsa and stuff, and that was great. That was wonderful. And I think, and then this is when we got back home. I don't know if you can tell, but I gained 8 pounds in the picture. So yeah, well, one of the things about it is they eat every time they congregate. So you go to morning church, they eat right after. You go to the devotional, they eat right after. You go to an event, they eat right after. So they always eat every single time they get together, and I'm not used to that. So I gained a few pounds, but overall, we were all very happy, and it was very hot. But it was a wonderful experience, and everyone's so loving and always willing to give a helping hand wherever they can, and I think that was very wonderful. I'm going to hand you over to Mark.
All right, and as you can see, that's the Ghana flag right there. And geographically, it's in West Africa, close to Togo. Well, we were right on the border of Togo and Ghana, in Djodje. So it was just right there on the eastern side of the country. And here's our group. This is over in, our plane got delayed the first day, or canceled because of thunderstorms. So we got stuck in Minneapolis for a day. So we just hiked around a lake. And ironically, the hottest I've been this summer was in Minneapolis. It was so hot there and humid. But then we got on we got our flight the next day. And then we went through Amsterdam and then into Accra. So what we did is we worked with the mission hospital there in Djodje, and Jonathan Kroll, he heads up the group. He headed up the group. He's over at in Henderson, Tennessee. But what we did is they sent out teams of nurses and medical assistants from this mission hospital to various villages throughout the region, the Volta region. And they would, now one thing is malaria is a big problem there and other tropical diseases. So they checked the people out for that and took their blood pressure and just gave them medicine as needed. And then they came over to us. We had several groups and we did Bible studies with them. And they're very patient, very receptive. And this is the material that we used. So we put in our scriptures, talking from the garden all the way through the scheme of redemption, basically. And again, they're very receptive. One thing, and I've never encountered this. I mean, you'll never hardly meet an atheist in Ghana. They all believe they're very spiritual people. Some of them, there is some idol worship, mostly associated with because they believe that might heal them. It's just a part of, but so we had to deal with a little bit of that, but mostly not. It was mostly a Christian mindset. Let's see. Come on, there we go. But we started immediately once we had these Bible studies. This is what you'd see. They'd want to be added to the Lord's church, baptized and forgiven. So we had to go find some water. There was always water around, so it didn't matter what water it was. They wanted to be baptized. This is the church in Djodje, the church building. In the middle, you'll see these are herbs they grow for medicine. It was really interesting, but that's one of. I believe, that's one of the only congregations I know of that had elders. So it's one of the bigger ones there. There's several. I mean, there's several congregations around, but we had study groups at this building. Come on. And this is one of my favorite things about Ghana, the children. Riel Kroll, she was teaching the kids here, doing some Bible lessons here, and they were just standing there listening. It was just very encouraging. Here's some more. Courtney, she came with us. She's from Wisconsin. She brought candy and bubbles, and the kids love that. They just had a great time with the bubbles. So they were chasing them. This is one of the villages around Joje. And to get to these villages, the roads are very challenging, let's say. So it's you have to have sometimes four-wheel drive and all that type of stuff. But we studied in this village with the people after they got their medical checks. And this hospital does a great job. There's only 2 hospitals in the area, and that's one of them. But they need more medical help there, definitely. And here we go. More baptisms. Again, wherever we find the water, that's where they're going to go. Only one congregation did I see like an actual baptistry. This is Ho. It's once you go up north a little bit, you get into the hills and mountains. So we had we had dinner there. So I think I had fufu and goat soup. It was really good. But we enjoyed our fellowship there. They took us up to that town. They got a lot of monkeys nearby. There's a monkey sanctuary. Okay. And this is our group, Ho. And there's some of the preachers there with us. And there's and Jonathan, Ansley, Riel, Anna, Jaden is there. And then John Morkley, he heads up the hospital. He and Mac. Let's say it's an adventure driving with Mac. In Africa, the horn is very important to warn people that you're driving close to them because there's people in the streets. And another thing is the land is so rich. It seems like every square inch there's corn and cassava, beans, mangoes. There's coconuts everywhere, so it's a very lush area. And here's a group of the preachers. There's Jonathan on the right. And so they go out every Friday and evangelize to different villages in the area. And this is in the southeastern part of the country. But they told me that Togo is very receptive as well, just across the border, and especially to the north. There is more of a Muslim influence up there, but they said that people are yearning for the gospel up there. So it's a ripe field, a fertile field. Oh, and there's one of the doctors there. I had a rash on my arm, and Jonathan took me over to him, and they gave me some medicine and cleared it up. And every time I saw him, he wanted to look at my arm. But he just graduated, so he's choosing to work with the hospital, probably for very little pay, because he wants to evangelize as well. He wants to be a part of this. So he could have he's basically, he's very, very loving and kind, and he wants to help people. And then there's a little girl carrying water on her head. And they sell things from up here in the streets. It's really interesting. And that's one thing, the Ghana smile. People smile, or they're just so happy there, and it's so hospitable, and they love the Lord. Oh, did I even have that? Oh, no. But I wanted to say, like, they would have prayer services like at 7 in the morning, and the building would be packed. And it was like an open-air building. But you go there 7 in the morning, and people were coming in and having a prayer service. And then the night before we left, Jonathan was preaching with a translator, and it's the Iwi tribe, so it's not English, it's their own language. But he was preaching, and then somebody off the street came and wanted to hear more. I mean, they're very receptive, and he was a Latter-day Saint. So a lot of good things are happening in Ghana. And one more thing, I know Spencer's trying to get on. The girls did a ladies seminar, a ladies leadership seminar, and they spoke on how to study the Bible, how to write and present a lesson, evangelism and discipleship. So the girls were very busy in that. They love doing that. So that, and a lot of women attended. So it was a great, encouraging trip. So a lot of good things are happening in Ghana, and Mission Printing does a great job over in Africa. So that's a wonderful work. So I just wanted to hand it over to Spencer here.
Well, very much appreciate both of you guys. I know about those souvenir pounds in Mexico, and that's why I love going to Mexico, to be honest. And I found a picture. Nobody's going to be able to see it because you would have to zoom in. But this is a picture from March 17th, 2024. You know what happened on March 17th, 2024? That's Michael Macias last year getting baptized. And so it's just such an encouragement to me to see somebody just within a little over a year already in the mission field, in your own backyard, but also being able to go to places in Mexico and use your time and your resources and your skills to work there. Such an encouragement. Mark was on our Mission Wales team 2 years ago, and when thinking about where to go this year, I basically said, don't come to Wales. I want you to go. Wales is a great place to go because there's a lot of work that's needed to be done. It's a very difficult field. I said, I want you to go to an area of the world that is very receptive. I go, you want to see multiple people? In essence, 60 people is how many were baptized during that week in Ghana. You need to go to Ghana. The church in West Africa, Nigeria, Togo, those countries, it's growing, at least statistically and anecdotally, faster than anywhere else in the world. It's truly, truly encouraging. That hospital that they're working with is an actual, like, quote unquote, Church of Christ hospital. So you don't see that here in the U.S. We have different groups that kind of have their name attached to a hospital, but this is a hospital that literally is connected to the Lord's church, where they have people on staff that are ministers there at the Jose Clinic, and they actually teach people and convert people. They have daily devotionals. I know Mark could have talked for a lot longer time about some of the stories, but I have about 20 minutes to hit 3 more countries. And so El Salvador, I just want to give a quick highlight. There was a group from Lindsay, Oklahoma, Christian Torres, who was here on a Wednesday night a couple weeks ago. Great brother. He's our El Salvador coordinator with World Bible Institute. So he led the group that went to the central part of El Salvador. He is working with the El Salvador School of Preaching, so they brought a good group, about 14 people. And here they are upon arrival they had 150 glasses that they brought that they were giving away, and kind of as their catalyst for connecting with people, giving away free glasses with ultimately an invitation to study the gospel. So they actually went specifically to work with a small church. I don't know if I'm going to pronounce it right, the Iglesia de Cristo in Suchitoto. And this is a town where they were working in. And the main goal for all 5 teams was to really just give exposure to the church, to let people know that the congregation's meeting in that area, who Jesus is, how you can become a Christian, an invitation. So our goal was to make contacts. And so their goal was contacts, not only inviting people, but trying to get names, phone numbers, emails, so the local Christians can ultimately continue to do the watering. We were doing planting is the goal, seed planting, and then they would get the contacts. And so this is just a picture of some of those contacts that were made. And each day, the attendance went up. They did 4 nights. It went from 20 people to 50 people to 100 people, and the last night, 150 people. We should have just kept going and extended the campaign, because there was more numerically people coming and then people hearing the gospel taught and proclaimed. And so I was so thankful for their efforts. It also coincided with the graduation with the School of Preaching there. And so this is just a picture of one of the brothers, he also works with American Airlines, getting his diploma, and there were 5 graduates for the school. And there's this one more image with Christian, a couple of the elders from the Lindsay, Oklahoma church, and the director of the school and the dean of students there. But let's pop over now to the western side of El Salvador. This is a place where I've gone a couple times, and Lord willing, next year I hope to bring a group there that you would be invited to go to this same area. This is in Ahuachapan, Santa Ana, one of the larger cities in El Salvador. This is them getting ready to do some door knocking, about 10, 15 degrees cooler than Matamoros. They still have the umbrella, though. It was hot, but they were, again, seed planting like crazy. So they got their water bottles, they have the materials, they have the flyers, the handouts to invite people to study the gospel. People did study the gospel, and people were baptized in El Salvador. There were, I believe, 6 that were immersed in the western part of El Salvador during that week. Brandon Ferguson does a really fine job in organizing teams to El Salvador. He's done this now, I think, 3 years in a row. And we've taken a group from Northwest to go work with him in Huntington, Maryland, a couple years back. And he's really organized, really on top of things, and cares about people. I'm trying to think who in this room's been to this building before, but this has been about a 6-year project, the Ahuachapan Church of Christ, where they got some property. I've seen them like little by little start with like 10 roofs, small tin roof covering, then larger tin roof covering, then building. I was there maybe a year and a half ago. They had half the wall up, and I saw this picture that Brandon posted, the full wall and the large roof has been added. They slowly have been building up a physical location for the church that's meeting there, and they're doing a fine job. They had a nice, diverse team of about 15 people with older, younger, teenagers, young adults on this group. And so they all spread out to use their talents, teaching kids classes, doing a ladies presentation. That's Angela Ferguson. They used to come here probably a decade ago, so some of you know them. Here's a picture from their youth activity and youth devotional. The young people, I could tell you stories about just how active they are. And their youth group's very unique in really Latin America, but I've seen it in El Salvador. When you turn 18, you don't really get kicked out of the youth group. Their youth is like basically like 12 to 25, and so the older youth, if you will, kind of become the de facto leaders, and so they're constantly, they don't really get kicked out. They take on more of a leadership role the older they get in the group, and the retention rates, believe it or not, are higher that way. Maybe we could learn something from watching them. And so packed out youth devotionals, classes, lots of teaching took place there. So if Brandon and Christian were here, they would have said a lot more, but I have about 18 minutes to go over the trip that we led to Wales, and we have visitors and some that were part of that team that are here. We initially had 29 people sign up, but within the last couple months leading up to the trip, various things came up, and we lost 12 people leading up to the day of departure. 3 we lost the day of, and so that was kind of tough. To have a pretty full team, lots of roles that were dispersed, but we had a great team that went and that left to go back to Wales from 2 years ago. Got connected with this church maybe 5 or 6 years ago. My in-laws were there. I think Robert and Sherry were there years ago, and they were trying to find a church to worship with on a Sunday, and they were near Wales, and they found them online, and they went and worshiped with them, and there was the introduction. The only thing is that was the only Church of Christ in Wales, 3 million people. It's right near the English border of the city of Bristol, 2.5 hours west of London. And so my family took a survey trip to plan to bring teams out, and so we went 2 years ago and back again this year. And so this was a picture just after our Saturday training day. We had like a training day the Saturday before departure, where those who couldn't be there were on Zoom. And so we spent the day talking about our different locations, what the plans were, how we had worked with the locals about what would be the best plan for the week that we're there. We discussed like travel tips, we discussed horror stories, we discussed things we've done wrong when going places. We talked about successes, we talked about motivation, why we're doing this. We talked about skills and resources that we could use. And so it was great to get together before and have that synergy before departure. And so we eventually got to Wales, and Newport, Wales, the name of the city. And the first thing we did actually was a big fellowship, and we invited the families. Anybody in the congregation could come. The congregation, if you went 2 years ago, was about 35 people. In 2025, there's 70 people now, literally a 50% growth in that congregation. There's a number of factors. Not only are they trying to be more evangelistic, there's a large contingency of the congregation that's Nigerian and Ghanaian, and so they've been having different people move over there for various reasons to go to school and to find jobs. It's wild. They think there's like 5 medical doctors that are from Nigeria that are members of the church worshiping at this congregation. It is a brilliant group of people, and they love the Lord, and they're working hard. So the first devotional we did was to go to a public park space that was actually a 2,000-year-old Roman amphitheater. Where they had basically gladiator type games here years ago, but it's just open to the public. So we played all kind of games like capture the flag and ultimate frisbee, and we invited others who were out there, like, what are these people doing here, and say, hey, come hang out and spend some time with us. One of our main focuses, and we tend to do this with Northwest groups when we've gone up to the Northeast or went to Rise in Arkansas last year, we tend to take our Vacation Bible School, which is the shirt that David and Retta are wearing there, where we did the 'Tis So Sweet themed VBS, and we packed it all within 7 or 8 carry-on suitcases, and we put that same VBS on. We actually did something a little different. We did a morning session and an evening session for 3 straight days. So 2.5 hours in the morning, 2.5 hours at night, 5 hours a day with activities in the afternoon, like going to the amphitheater or going out and inviting people to come and worship and giving invitations to. And so it's a good way of, I like doing VBSs because it gets the whole group involved, and everyone uses their skills and talents, and all ages can be involved, and it's something to invite people to, rather than just saying, hi, we're with the church, come on Sunday. Hey, we're having something, 6 different opportunities in the next 3 days. And that's a lot. I did find out at the end, that's a lot of time and activity taking place. And in the morning, they called it the Holiday Bible Club, VBS, and in the evening, they called it Connect Club, and I'll say something about that in a minute. But lots of preparations were underway, getting crafts prepared, cutting things out. There's Caitlin, you'll recognize her. That's Brianna. She's with the church in Killeen, Texas. We had some others join us. It was an open invite. And so we were getting crafts prepared, all hands on deck. This is pictures getting all the suitcases undone and all the tablecloths that we're going to be hanging up on the wall and setting up the stage and blowing up donuts and all the decor, getting the bags set up actually getting the flyers set up to go put into letter boxes. We didn't hang any bags up because there you can kind of just slide things into letter boxes without even having a stamp. And so it was great getting everyone together, even the church members from there with Jake and Jerry, who are both here. They were getting material set up, and with brother Echo and his daughter, they're from Ghana, but just brilliant, hard workers, just such a treasure to that family. They don't have a local preacher or anything. They just divide all the responsibilities with the members, and it works great that way. Each afternoon for 4 straight days, we would go out and invite people. And so that would be starting from the church building, just walking out, and then after we saturated, we had hit 1,500 homes. And so we just went to a park about less than a mile from the church building, and then we just divided up into 4 groups and said, you guys go north, you go south, you go east and west, go and talk to anybody you want. And this was really great because everybody was participating. You had the guys, you had girls, you had the older people, younger people, and it was neat watching kids knock on doors and talk to people, or somebody walk by them on the street. Everybody was engaged in inviting people. And once you get past that hurdle of kind of the fear, like after a couple of homes, you're comfortable. And it just becomes easy and natural to just talk and to invite. This was kind of a mob, it seemed like, an evangelistic mob. We all left the church building and walked like a mile and a half away through the town, through downtown, through by the river there, up into the mall area, and everyone had stuff with them. So if we engaged somebody, we could give them an invitation. It was just kind of as you go evangelism. Let's just go walk and talk to people. And so when we're bunched together, it's a little overwhelming for somebody. But once we got into town, we could here's in front of the mall area. We could spread out. So here we are in some of the streets, and we had Caitlin made some signs for us saying, if you could ask God a question, what would it be? And so we would hold these up, and guess what? Some people would come and ask. Even though 47% of Wales is nothing, they're either atheistic, agnostic, or nothing, unaffiliated. And so half of Wales, they don't even go to any kind of church anymore. But there's still people in the most difficult fields still looking and wanting to talk about God, His Word, about morality, about right and about wrong. And so we were able to get a number of, we ended up with 13 contacts after this, where people with prayer requests, questions, where we got their emails or phone numbers so the church could follow up in these efforts. And so it was great. But again, we had our VBSs and had the rotations set up with crafts, games, activities, Bible lessons, singing, snacks, the same thing that we do, just, kind of customize the plan a bit. And so just some pictures of the class, the activities outside. It wasn't, we didn't have to have umbrellas outside. We actually at times had to get a jacket. It was about 60 degrees there. We weren't complaining about the weather too much. There's some tug of war. I'm not sure if they won or if they won, but lots of games and activities. We had Jake and Jerry leading the game rotation. And then the other team members either taught a class or were a group leader or helped serve snacks or did something. And so here we are singing some of the songs and having a good time. We had lots of devotional periods and teaching periods. Some of it was with all ages and some of it was broken up by age. Now, the only reason I put this picture, I was trying to get one of Craig here on your left. Craig Holder is from the UK. He moved to Newport about a year ago, and their intention, he and his wife and kids, is to plant a congregation in Cardiff, which is the capital city. And so they live in Cardiff, and there's a couple families that live in Cardiff. So the intent is there to be a third congregation in Wales in the coming years. But he's in good fellowship with Newport and wants to spend a year or two there, working with them and encouraging them. So he was the contact person planning the trip, and he had a lot of ideas. But if you think that I'm hyper and have a lot of energy, he's like 2.0 of me, and I don't even think he drinks coffee. You can ask anybody who went on the trip. The guy has a lot of spunk to him, and I loved it. He literally at the end of the first day said, maybe we could step it up a notch a little bit. I was like, oh, okay. I haven't been told that before, but all right. And granted, we were jet lagged and everything the first day, but he was really an encouragement to work with, and I know that he loves the Lord. He's been with a number of congregations. His wife is related to one of the preachers in England, and there are just a lot of connections to the church. He taught me a lot of new songs I recorded on my phone. They had an entire kids songbook with over 100 songs of things that, outside of my 30 VBS song repertoire. And so it was neat learning some new ones. They did the British Bible Camp 2 days after we left, and I asked them videotape some of their singing sessions so I could learn some new songs to sing. So Craig was great. They had a little girl that Emery connected with, and she was talking about her just the other day, weeks later. We did daily devotionals, so all the different men on the team took turns leading a talk for the team. And so here's Jerry giving his devotional talk. I think you're blinking in the picture, so sorry I didn't get the best one, but he did a great job. We had lots of fellowship meals. The church members took turns providing for us. This is a reoccurring theme with all the places we think we're going to serve them, but really it feels like it's a mutual service, and just very humbled in how much love is give and take. And this is Brother Echo's family, and just brilliant kids and wonderful kids, hardworking. They all went door knocking with us and active. They prepared meals for us. It was really a great gathering. Some more pictures of the rotations, and I don't know if Faith is here. Faith is with the Keller Church. She's was part of our team. This was an interesting picture. The reason why I added this is at night they did something called Connect Club, and basically it was VBS, another session. But what they did was, instead of just having the adults in one class and then the kids broken up by age group, they broke the congregation into 3 groups. It was like this group is one, this section of the auditorium is a group, and this section of the auditorium is a group. And the whole group did the rotations together. So it was an intergenerational rotation. And at first I was like, is that going to work? And then I think it can work. And I think there were pros and cons to doing like this. But you had the whole family doing VBS together, the craft together, the lesson together. You also then have group leaders built in. The parents are with their kids. It was kind of playing games together, doing tug of war, whatever game y'all did that day together. I think it has the ability to work. I had never seen this. It wasn't our initial plan going in to have a intergenerational rotation group for VBS, but I was telling everybody in the planning day, get ready to adapt and make plans, and maybe travel plans go awry, or they may have something they want to do different. You don't force your plans upon people. So we did it, and I think it kind of worked. And so it would be something to test out here. Jake was fantastic with the kids. They gravitated to him. He took even after hours. I think that's literally Emery and her friend Bella stuck to his leg as he's trying to walk. And I think you were worn out every morning. I could just tell, like, you went hard and did very well with the kids. And it was good to, over the years, retire from that and to pass it on to the next generation. And so I was so thankful for everyone's service and skills. Candace, I had to sneak in there and take a picture of her. She was just teaching one of the little kids' classes in this rotation. She really had to take on quite a few roles because, again, we lost a family from Tennessee the day of. And she ended up having an emergency, what do you call that thing, gallbladder removed. And it was really, they were teaching multiple classes. They had an entire suitcase of crafts and materials and flip charts and everything, and we lost all that. And so last minute, we're having to make plans, and Candace had to teach extra classes and prepare additional things at the last minute. But we stepped up, and at the end of it, everyone was pretty worn out, but it was good. Here's Caitlin and Faith teaching one of the Bible classes. This is our men's breakfast. The Saturday before leaving Wales, we got the men together real early that morning for a traditional English breakfast, and we had a nice kind of final gathering with the brothers. And the reason why we had such an early men's breakfast is because we drove an hour and a half north to Swansea. Just got a last few minutes here. And Swansea, Wales is now another congregation. Now, it's two families meeting. Well, actually, there's another person now there that they've converted that are meeting in a home. And so they kind of just go back and forth between some of their homes. But they're both, they both had their PhD degrees. One's an engineer, one's a medical doctor. They're working and connected also with the University of Swansea. So we actually rented out like an area in their library to have planning, to have prayer, to sing together. We brought house to house, heart to heart, custom tracts for both congregations. So we brought them about 500 in a suitcase so that they could disperse them in the area. So we took a couple groups. Some went out to kind of an area, and some went out to the train station area and the bus stops, and we invited people to study. That's what we did. We had connections. We were able to set up a number of contacts for the brothers there in Swansea and have a nice fellowship together there. And so there's two congregations now. Hopefully there'll be a third congregation that's meeting physically in Wales next year in Cardiff with a new church plant. But it's been really neat seeing this. Even 2 years ago, the team that went, it continued after that. People were friends now on social media. Some of Ansley and Anna, who were at Freed Hardeman, they did the exchange program. They went this past spring semester, and they did a ladies' day with the Newport Church. And it was so cool to see that a year and a half later, that relationship continue. I had a great gathering with multiple sister congregations came together for that. Is Sydney here today? I think she went to visit her family. Sydney Enoch, one of our members, at TCU student, she did study abroad last year, and she traveled over for the Ladies' Day. And so the relationships continue. And so I think it's more than just going and doing 1 week of encouragement and seed planting, but you can go back and you can continue to pray with them and continue to encourage them. A couple years ago, we had a couple folks that we thought were going to be baptized while we were there, but some of the team stayed with them and studied online with them, and they were immersed into Christ in the past year. And so it was great to see them in person and say, hey, I was so happy to see that you were baptized. And so it's really encouraging. This is one of the brothers' houses that we went to at the end and had fellowship. And that's how we all felt at the end of VBS, just dead. And after doing ours and doing our summer here at Northwest, and then going and doing straight into the mission trip. Let me just spend 1 minute. I know the bell just rang, but I'll wrap up here. A few highlights. We had about 50 people involved in these trips. That was just from the States. We partnered with lots of people on the ground there. There were about 100, we came up with 100 sermons were taught, 100 Bible classes, sermons and Bible classes that were taught in the 5 locations in that week. We calculated just around 5,000 people were given an invitation to the church and to study the word. And then 66 souls were added to the church. And so we're thankful for all the prayers. Each day we would wrap up, at least in my group, and we would do a thing called 2 roses and a thorn. And then somebody added, why don't we just call it a bud if you can't come up with a thorn for the day? So every night we would recap the evening in our hotel. We'd get together and we would say, okay, give 2 positive things and 1 challenge from the day. Because, there were tough things that would happen, but sometimes it's like, well, it was a good day. I'm like, well, say something bad, but they're like, I can't. And they're like, how about a bud? I'm like, that's a good idea. Just some neutral thing. And we would recap the day. The good would always outweigh the challenges. And so I end this lesson with a couple roses. A lot of people were invited to study. A lot of people got involved in mission work, and we hope to get more and more people involved in short-term missions. A thorn is there's a lot of work to be done. It is really overwhelming. I'll share some stats during the sermon this morning about just how mind-boggling it is to think about how much work there still needs to be done. We're barely scratching the surface in Fort Worth, let alone in Europe and parts of Africa and wherever. And so that's a thorn still. I'll end with this little mantra, this little clause. There was a brother named Cy Stafford. He was with the Andrew Connolly School of Preaching in Arusha, Tanzania. And he passed away from cancer a couple years ago. But he would end every report and every email with this phrase, until all have heard. And I loved it. And I was like, I think I emailed and said, can I borrow that, or can I steal that, or can I use that? Because I think it's great, until all have heard. That's what we just do right now. Just keep going until all have heard. And so let's plant, let's water, let God give the increase. So appreciate everyone's attention. Let's conclude with a prayer, and then we'll open the doors, and you can go get your kids from classes. Father in heaven, we're thankful that we had a few moments to give a report on these Mission World efforts. We know it was just a little scratching the surface of the work that needs to be done, but we're thankful to be part of that. We're thankful for partners, those who help support. Many of these folks who spent funds out of their own pocket, but some were able to raise funds. The Northwest Church could help with a small element of the preparations and the materials that were sent, and we are thankful. We're thankful for the partnerships as we all continue to serve together as in the Lord's army. And so, Father, bless us here in Fort Worth as we continue to be evangelistic and to think about souls and people. We're thankful to know the gospel, to hold on to you with one hand, but use our other hand to take others with us. Bless today's worship as we prepare the next few minutes to honor and glorify your name. It's in the name of Christ we pray.